Ladies and gentlemen, Sixers fans all over the world, what's up? Currently, this is my last day in Texas. I'm flying back to the Big Apple of New York City tomorrow. It's about T-minus 30 minutes right now for the Sixers game to play the Kings. But right now, I want to talk about something that makes really, really good teams NBA championship contenders. And that's not just star players, star talent, LeBron James's, Joel Embiid's, guys like that. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is this special little role player, the glue guy. And the Philadelphia 76ers glue guy is Matisse Thybulle. I want to talk about Matisse a little bit today. It's not going to be a super long video. The Sixers game is coming up soon, so I want you guys to be able to watch that without watching my video. But I do want you to check this out beforehand. You know what? A little pregame to a Sixers video, or a Sixers game, I should say. Also, no De'Aaron Fox tonight. So we should win by like 20 plus, easy. That's all I'm going to say. All right, let's talk about Matisse. It's his second game back from injury against the Lakers. He played 29 minutes, and I'm going to sit here and preach the fact that we need to play Matisse at least 25 minutes a night. And I say that because he is an absolute playmaker, one of the best playmakers in the NBA. And you're going to be like, Greg, what? That man can't pass the ball to save his life. How's he a playmaker? There are different terms of a playmaker. There's a playmaker of Chris Paul, who has a lot of assists, creates offensive plays. And then there are guys like Matisse Thybulle, who is a defensive playmaker. That steal that he had against the Lakers, where he jumped like 55 feet up in the air at center logo to steal Russell Westbrook's pass, then have a nice little dish to Tyrese Maxey for an easy two, is exactly what I'm going to sit here and talk about. It's the fact that he creates plays on the defensive end. He does things on the defensive end that there are no other people in the NBA that can say they do the same. Matisse Thybulle has the length of an absolute freak, and defensively, if you are not long, there's only so much you can do. You can have a high motor, you can do this, you can do that, but if you don't have the body to compete in the NBA at a high level, defensively, you're going to struggle. That's a big problem with a lot of little guys. Isaiah Thomas, guys like that, they struggle because they're just not long. There's only so much you can do. Matisse Thybulle, on the other hand, is the definition of long. That man's arms are crazy. His wingspan is crazy. His athletic ability is even crazier. Matisse Thybulle reminds me a lot of Andrei Kirilenko, and by that I mean the way he plays defense is very, very different. It is very different from what you see. For the most part, when you see a defender get burnt, the play's over. He loses, it's 2 points. But Matisse Thybulle almost asks the ball handler to beat him off the dribble because Matisse Thybulle plays defense behind NBA offensive playmakers. And that is so insane to think about. He's literally giving up an advantage to create himself a bigger advantage because of his length, because of his athletic ability, because of his jumping ability, his vertical, all of that. Because Matisse Thybulle's instincts, first of all, are unreal. And the thing about Matisse is he probably is on the best possible team he can be on to be the best possible defender he can be. Because I say that because, well, Joel Embiid. Embiid gives Matisse Thybulle an opportunity to fail. It gives him the ability to miss sometimes, to lose sometimes, because when the ball comes in the paint, Embiid is one of the best interior defenders in the entire NBA. I don't just mean blocks per game, but I mean his presence. There are so many guys who just literally do not put up shots against Embiid, and you can't blame him because Embiid is an absolute freak on the NBA court in every aspect of the word. Matisse Thybulle lives behind defenders. He blocks defenders' shots when he's behind them, or he blocks shooters' shots when he is behind them. He takes poke steals from behind. He lives behind NBA offensive players, and that is insane because offensive players don't expect to have their shot blocked behind their head after they beat a guy at an elbow jumper. But the way Matisse plays is he almost is like one of those like bullfighters. Oh, hey. That's literally what he does. He wants you to go behind him, so go in front of him so he can go behind you and swat it. Matisse Thybulle had 4 steals and a block 2 days ago against the Lakers in 29 minutes, and he can just completely win you games by games like that. The Sixers are lucky. They really are. As much of depth we don't have, we have some big-time playmakers, and Matisse Thybulle is one of them. Matisse Thybulle can win you a game when he is just having one of those nights. We can struggle offensively, we can struggle defensively, but when Matisse Thybulle is out there changing the momentum of the game in 5, 6, 7 minute spurts as the way he did against the Lakers, sometimes there's nothing an opposing team can do. And players like that are very, very rare. They're glue guys. Every championship contending team tries to have a guy like that, and Matisse Thybulle is probably the best in the NBA when it comes to defense because of what he can do. And he loses a lot of one-on-one battles because he's not really a one-on-one defender, but he makes up for it with his length, his athletic ability, and his instincts, and his hustle, and everything that he does to catch back up into the play, and he does it better than anyone I've ever seen. He is really the most exciting defensive player I've ever seen in my entire life. and I've been watching basketball for a long time, ladies and gentlemen. Before the Sixers were good, and when the Sixers were okay, for a long time. Matisse Thybulle is a very, very special player. And though at the same time, a lot of people are saying he's untouchable in a trade package, I think probably the opposite. I think Matisse Thybulle can bring back a lot more than I think what some people can probably imagine. I think if you put in a package of Matisse and Ben Simmons, you would get something pretty legit because teams are very aware of what Matisse Thybulle brings. And I'm not going to sit here and say let's trade him, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and say let's not trade him. Matisse Thybulle can be a generational defender. He can be a defensive player of the year if he can get more minutes. Every Sixers fan knows that. But I really just wanted to talk about the unreal impact that he brings defensively. The Sixers win games sometimes just based off of the 5, 6, 7-minute runs that Matisse Thybulle carries the Sixers. Simply carries the Sixers on defense. When he's running around, freelancing, being a free safety, being Darren Sharper, being Ed Reed, being Sean Taylor, RIP, the Sixers can be genuinely unstoppable on that end. We shut down the Lakers to less than 100 points. And I understand, look, LeBron didn't play, but AD is still arguably a top 15, 20 guy in the NBA, despite having a bad year. But Matisse Thybulle shut down some really, really important possessions, and he really kind of was the reason why we took out in such a big lead. I love watching Matisse play basketball, really, simply put. And the way I see his offensive game, yeah, as much as I want him to shoot a three-point shot, hell yeah, bro. That would be huge. Literally huge. I would die to have Matisse be able to offensively do something. But at the same time, if he doesn't progress and evolve offensively, he still has another 10 to 15 years in the NBA. That's how good he is defensively. It's just sugar on top. It's just the cherry on top. It's just the more ingredients to an already delicious cake. That's how I see Matisse Thybulle's game. I think with Embiid pushing him the way that Embiid does and as close as they are as people, and as Doc Rivers, I think, is normally as a coach, I think Matisse Thybulle, it's only a matter of time until he can become more consistent offensively. And I don't just mean three-point shooting because I know that may never come. Let's be honest, that may never come. But the ability to just constantly be cutting, for Embiid to be a much better facilitator as he was in the past, it's going to make Matisse Thybulle a much better offensive player because you can constantly run him around. Let him be a gazelle. Let Matisse Thybulle just run free, run to the rim, catch the ball, dunk it as much as he possibly can. Because the way that Matisse Thybulle plays defense is so, so special. He immediately changes the game the moment he steps on the court. I just wanted to rant for a little bit. Let's go out there. Let's get a dub against the Kings tonight. Peace out, guys. I'll be back on the East Coast tomorrow.